sure, but just it was
Just
like he
put
was just
together.
talking to you alone, and there
Yeah.
was like 150 people in the auditorium.
And you know what's funny too is like some of the friends that I have that do that, it's not even like they're like, okay, pull it together, okay, I can do this. It's like they love it.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh, he was.
well, it's like
comfortable in his
actors,
skin.
you know?
Oh.
Hi, I'm Nicole Aron, a reporter with MedCity News, and I'm here with Tracy Warren, who is a partner at Astarte Ventures, and she's here to talk a little bit about why her particular group is really focused on the well-being of women and children, and that's the primary focus. So can you talk a little bit about why you chose to specify your focus that way?
Sure. My partner and I have been in venture for about 15 years, and as we looked at the landscape changing in healthcare and took into account the role of women in healthcare decision making, it became apparent to us that there was an untapped opportunity relating to technologies and solutions where women may have a more active, proactive, or even a preventative mindset when it comes to their health or the health of their children. Mm-hmm. And so we felt this was an underserved area from a venture investment perspective. And there's a lot of great innovation happening really at the convergence of the consumerism of healthcare and healthcare technology development.
Mm-hmm. And so, since we're obviously here at Invest, can you talk a little bit about your investment strategy in particular and how that might maybe differ from other groups, or how it's what makes it unique in the way that you guys approach that?
Sure, I think it's, to a great extent, we do the same types of investing as other healthcare firms. We'll do digital technologies, we'll do devices. We do stay away from pure therapeutics, but we look at things as sort of what is driving the decision. So whether it's a clinical-based solution or whether it's actually a consumer-driven healthcare solution. The mentality, the motivation, really along the ideas of convenience of healthcare and proactive and intervention, as opposed to treatment and therapies for this population. And again, we're trying to look at things that are very much oriented towards women disproportionately, or in fact to children and pediatrics.
Mm-hmm. And I find it interesting that because women and children is such a large demographic when you think about it, why do you think that this particular demographic is somewhat underserved?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think twofold. One is pediatrics has historically had a pretty rough regulatory and other challenges in getting therapies approved. And so from an investment versus market potential, there tends to be a tough trade-off for a lot of investors to make. I think that's changing with healthcare changes in payers and treatment of conditions. I mean, you look at obesity in children, they're 1 in 3. A lot of these solutions are actually going to be done by the consumer as opposed to in a payer system. And so we are looking at things where the consumer is, the wallet share is shifting. The consumer is playing a more active role in maintaining the health or treating conditions that are not going to be in a clinical setting. So I wouldn't say that they've just been outside the norm, mainly because we have the changes in the healthcare system, and then consumer discretionary income as it relates to health. People are more interested and active in managing their health and preventing some of these conditions than I think they were 10 years ago.
Right, that makes sense. Yes, definitely. So after looking through the portfolios and the companies that you're investing in, can you share a little bit about how they differ, what types of companies you're investing in, and maybe some of the standouts that you think are particularly innovative right now?
Sure. I think if you look across our portfolio, we've tried to show, a lot of people say, what do you mean by women's and children's health? And I think our portfolio gives you a good smattering of that. Some of them are health solutions for, purchased by the consumer and used in the home or at work, and some are in the clinic. So a couple of examples, we have an investment in Lully, which is a wireless platform to help with night terrors in children, which is actually not treated clinically, but for families whose children have night terrors, it's a very disruptive situation. They go direct to the consumer. It's an elegant solution to really help children and families. Naya Health is a new breast pump, which for women who have have dealt with breastfeeding. It's a sleek, very quiet, very efficient breast pump. It's an industry that had not invented in 40 years, and this is much more of what I'll call, not your mother's breast pump. And so we're very excited about those two.
Yeah.
When we go to the clinical side, we're looking at technologies really in labor and delivery, so it's still a process that is still quite ill-served. We have a company that's looking at preventing pelvic floor damage, so as opposed to waiting to treat stress urinary incontinence in women as they hit their 40s, 50s, and 60s, we're looking at preventing pelvic floor during the birthing process so that women don't then progress to have some of these later in life conditions.
Yeah.
So those are kind of two, the consumer side versus the clinical side.
Great, yeah. And so what do you have planned in terms of moving forward with investing? Are there different trends that are kind of shifting the way that you plan to invest moving forward as of right now? Or can you share a little bit about that? What's moving forward for you?
Sure, I think one is the use of technologies, a lot of the digital technologies I'm sure you'll see here at the conference,
Right.
as they apply to managing, let's say, high-risk pregnancy. So there are some very interesting approaches that are clinically based and to help women better manage, as opposed to bed rest, which was always the long-term prescription for high-risk pregnancy.
Yeah.
In a more active lifestyle, women who want to be more cognizant of a healthy pregnancy, there are some great digital solutions out there, and so that's a space we're really trying to dig into and look at what's going to drive adoption, what's going to differentiate those. And then I think for us, we're actually looking on the pediatric side and looking at solutions in the NICU, so things that can help better care for some of our most at-risk patients in the world, which are premature infants, and looking at solutions to give NICU teams better information and better therapies on the prevention side or early diagnosis to prevent neurodevelopmental and other conditions that can develop with premature infants.
Interesting, yeah. And so any particular insights that you've picked up so far here at the conference that stand out to you in terms of trends and what's going on in the industry right now?
Yeah, no, I think first of all, there's a lot of really interesting companies. I'm excited to see the presentations. I think the convergence that we believe in, which is consumers being aware of, I think long gone is the build a product, sell it to a clinician, have a payer pay for it. I think there is a whole new category of investment outside of even women's and children's where there's a consumer role in how healthcare is going to be delivered. People that want it at their time, they're willing to pay for it, but they want it in a convenience way. And there's some really innovative ways that you're seeing to approach that, and I think it makes it very exciting as an investor.
Yeah, I think that's great. Well, thank you so much for your time, Tracy. My name is Nicole Aran. Thanks for joining us, and we're going to continue enjoying the conference. Thanks so much. All right.
Okay.
That was pretty painless.
Yeah. Was it 20 minutes?
I don't think that was 20 minutes.
About 15.
15?
Oh,
Is that
that's
okay?
good. It didn't feel that long.
Is it?
Okay.